Hi, I'm Jeannie. Welcome to Mimi Craft, your home for all things creative and DIY on a budget. I make all the mistakes so you don't have to. Hello friends, old and new. I'm so glad you're here. Please be sure to like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you know every time I upload. Also, leave me a comment, even if it's just an emoji, because all these things help to get my videos out there so that I can continue to bring you the content you love. Let's get started. Today we'll be making some candle holders. You'll need 51 blocks for this tutorial, which is for the largest candle holder. To make the medium candle holder, you'll need 27 blocks. For the small candle holder, 12. Choose 48 blocks the same size. The reason I recommend this is it will save you a lot of sanding and filling later on. It'll make your project look its best. You'll need wood glue and hot glue for this project. The small bottle I'm using is called a needle tip applicator and can be purchased at Michael's, Amazon, or Temu. It helps control glue flow. If you don't want to purchase one, simply open your bottle of wood glue with a pin and it will act similarly. Glue 12 sets of 4 blocks end to end. Using wood filler and a natural color, fill in all gaps on the front and sides. You can leave the back as is. You probably noticed I flipped all the pieces over. The bottom side of the blocks is always the flattest when you're gluing because you're gluing on a flat surface, so I always consider that to be the front side. When the filler is dry, we'll be sanding next. I always use a respirator, glasses, and a canister vacuum when I sand. This sander is a Ryobi brand corner cat. It's really old, but I'm pretty sure they still make them. If you sand by hand, it's really not that bad. You can remove a lot of the filler with just water on a towel, but that won't smooth out the surface of the blocks, so I prefer sanding. Glue 2 sets of 2 strips together side by side. This will be the front and the back of the holder. I wanted my holders to accommodate taper candles as well as tea lights. I purchased these taper candles at Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree also has battery-operated tapers that are slightly narrower. Place your candle on the center of the 2-strip piece and mark its width on both ends of the piece. This will show you where to place the next strips so that the candle will fit. Place a line of wood glue on the outside of the markings you just made. Place the edge of your next strip directly on those markings. You can place an extra block under this strip to support it as it dries, and then repeat on the other side. Also, run a bead of hot glue on the inside of each strip right at that seam to help support the project as it dries. Repeat these steps for the other 2 strip structure. Glue 3 stacked blocks as you see on screen. I only filmed one. This will be where the bottom of the candle will sit. See, I only did 1 there. Put 2 more on top of that. Wipe off any excess wood glue with a paper towel. Mark the center of a block to use as a template for the next 2 strips. You'll only be adding these strips to one of the structures. I gotta come up with some more synonyms. I've used structures twice. Let's see what I come up with. Use your template to mark the halfway points of the previous layer. That's not so bad. Place glue as before and add on 2 more strips, just to one of those sides. Repeat what you did on the last layer, marking the middle of those blocks, and then we're going to be gluing these 2 pieces together. You're going to add glue, this time to the inside of the marking on both, well, what I'm working on here is top and bottom. And take the other piece and line up the edges with those lines that you made. And let this dry thoroughly. Lastly, add 1 strip to the middle of each side. I used a little bit of hot glue in between the wood glue just so this would hold still. Here's an airplane view, and this is what it looks like. And now at warp speed, I will make a medium-sized holder and a small one. If you look off to the right, that little thing that looks like a hair hanging off is actually a hot glue string. On the smallest one, you're not going to have to put any blocks in between because the candle will fit in all the way down to the bottom of the holder. Here's an extreme close-up of how they look on my work table. And this is how they look with crooked taper candles in them. This is how they look painted copper. This is Craft Smart multi-purpose acrylic paint in the color copper. I bought it at Michael's. Project number 2 is a wall light or sconce, and you'll need approximately 2 boxes of blocks. You start by gluing together 2 sets of 6. Then 2 sets of 5. Two sets of 4. Are you beginning to see a pattern? 2 sets of 3. And 2 sets of 2. You will also need 3 single blocks. Fill them like a madman. Sand them like a madman. Glue 2 singles together side by side. Create another template with a block. On the long side, mark 1/8 inch in, and then horizontally halfway. Mark 1/8 inch in on the long sides of your 2 block. It's actually the front, but I'll call it the base. As before, you're going to place your glue on the outside of that marking, and then you're going to take a 2 block segment and put it on there, support it with hot glue, and you'll do the same on the other side. Each layer will have a block section that is 1 block longer. Probably just easiest to follow the video. Here I'm holding the blocks straight up just to make sure that they're both perfectly even with one another. Now I'm going to flip it over, and I'm also going to add some wood glue to that little seam in the outside because you're gluing on such a small area. We need all the wood glue we can get. And then of course wipe off any extra. On the odd numbered segments, use your template to mark the very center. Then you can line that up with that little seam on the layer below. Isn't this absolutely riveting? Hang in there, 2 more layers, I know you can do it. I recommend putting a stack of 5 blocks underneath the center of your project and then supporting it with something heavy on either side and then let it dry overnight. Now we're going to make the sides. So you're going to glue together 6 sets of 6 blocks end to end. Glue these into 2 sets of 3 as you see on screen. This is the way I recommend you do it. It'll just hold together better. I also did it while it was still a little bit wet so I can move the blocks around just a little bit. Dry, you're going to flip them over and wait for it. Wood filler. Although I sized all these blocks, I did have one that was sticking out at one end, so I sanded that to be even with the others. I actually recommend that you sand the ends. It'll just make your project look that much more high-end. Now we're going to add the sides to the front. You want your filled edges to be toward the outside, and I lined everything up ahead of time. Then I put glue on the sides and then place that entire structure on top of there. And then I placed a book on top of it until it was dry. One more seam to fill on each side. Glue together 2 sets of 2 side by side. These are going to be supports for the shelf that's going to hold the puck lights. Glue each of these at the halfway point on the inside of each of the sides as you see on screen. I used a level to determine the halfway point on the other side because I don't trust these blocks to be even. Measure the inside width of your project. Mine was 5 inches. And then I transferred this measurement to a jumbo craft stick. This craft stick I bought came from a package from Walmart. So I marked them here with the pencil and I cut them with heavy duty scissors. I didn't cut them, I cut it. Next I used command strips to put on either side of this. The command adhesive doesn't stick to wood, so I used hot glue. Here I am pressing 2 of those command strips together, putting the glue on, and gluing it on the stick. So one side to the stick, the other side to the puck light. And do the same on the other side. You're going to have a light on either side of this. Next, glue this little contraption to the shelf you made earlier. Use wood glue and let this thoroughly dry before you put your puck lights on. Use hot glue for the puck light as well. And place that firmly and do the same thing on the other side. And now you've got lights going both up and down. I recommend D-rings like these for the hangers because this has a little weight to it. And then you'll also need to put a couple blocks toward the bottom to balance it out so that it hangs straight on the wall. And very last, add your very last block to the front. And this is how mine turned out. This is how it looks with the candle holders. And here it is lit up. And with tea lights. I wanted to see how this would look with the copper paint. I love this color. Thank you so much for watching. And again, as I said before, if you would please hit the like button if you enjoyed the content and leave me a comment. Even a little emoji, anything. I would like to know what you thought about the projects today, and I'd even like to know what you might like to see in the future. Until the next one, bye!